Welcome to our Energy Connect studios at Gastech 2022. I'm delighted to have sitting next to me Joao Galamba, State Secretary for Energy and Environment, Ministry of Energy and Climate Action from Portugal. Thank you so much for taking the time out of this busy day two of Gastech to come and speak to me.
It's a pleasure.
Now, how is Portugal working towards objectives of its National Energy and Climate Plan for 2030?
Our response to the crisis was basically trying to move faster than all. So we moved our plans that in the power sector, the goals that we had for 2030, we moved them up to 2026.
Yep.
And it is the best way that we have to protect ourselves from high gas prices is to consume less of it. And the only way that Portugal can consume less gas is if we depend less on it on the power sector. That's easy savings, because many people talk about renewables. What happens when the sun doesn't shine and the wind doesn't blow? Well, Portugal is burning a lot of gas while the wind is blowing and the sun is shining. So our short-term objective is to get rid of that gas consumption and substitute it by renewables as fast as we can.
Great, and could you talk a little bit how Portugal's supporting global efforts in these other technologies, hydrogen or new renewable gas development?
Yes, that's another indirect effect of the current gas crisis, is that it made profitable most of the projects that we had in renewable gases and hydrogen, and so we are speeding them up also. Now biomethane and green hydrogen are cheaper than natural gas. So it is another way to reduce consumption of natural gas.
Absolutely.
And to increase the overall resilience of the Portuguese economy, because we are blessed with excellent renewable resources, and we are and we have no fossil resources. So for us, it's straightforward: is move as fast as we can away from fossil fuels and install as much renewable capacity in all sectors, not just in the power sector, but in industry, as fast as we can. For us, it's quite simple. There's no hard choices to make.
Yeah, I mean, Portugal is one of the first countries in the world at COP22 to reduce greenhouse gases emissions towards climate neutrality by 2050. And we mentioned the 2030 plan, but I mean, you aim to achieve 40% of renewables in your gross energy consumption. What kind of measures? You mentioned a few, but to achieve these, ambitious targets, but as you said, you have to do it.
Yeah. We are doing it in the power sector. We installed the same capacity in the first semester of 2022 that we did in the entire year of 2021. And the second derivative is clearly positive, so we are accelerating that growth. So we expect a very strong second semester of 2022 and an even stronger 2023. On other areas, Portugal, although is on the bottom half of income in Europe, we have a very fast-growing EV market. We are on the top 5 or 6 countries in Europe with the highest percentage of EV sales as regarding total sales, and our indicators for EV chargers is also quite good. So that's another area where we also trying to speed up. And then the big elephant in the room is industry. That's the one that is. But as long as we can reduce gas consumption in other areas, and then just focus on industry and help industry decarbonizing using either electrification or renewable gases, it's more difficult than in the power sector, but it's doable, and that's our main focus now.
Great, and that ties into what kind of policy level from the government you're trying to bring in, urgent measures to reduce, over-reliance on gas. I mean, global energy systems are quite fragile at the moment, but obviously I think if you come from a governmental level, which you've just pointed on, you can sort of help your industry and your country sort of move on.
The biggest challenge we have now in Europe in terms of speeding up, since speeding up is what we need, it's not true of every country. Some countries really need to manage for longer terms their gas dependency or coal dependency or oil dependency. But the biggest bottleneck now in Europe for all of this to speed up is permitting. So that's been one of our main focus. We've had several legislative proposals that are now in effect that have already had a high and we are finalizing our last bill on these on this, and we believe that it's going to have a huge effect. Basically, we're aligning the interests of central government companies and local municipalities, giving financial bonuses for municipalities that facilitate licensing and of renewables. So we already have all the legislative frameworks in place. this is our last hurdle, and after that, I think it's just see things happening.
Great, well that is good to hear. And on see things happening, can you talk a little bit about the Lisbon Energy Summit that's going to be in May 2023? Bit of, ambitions and outcomes you'd like to achieve from having a summit in Lisbon.
Well, Portugal has never had a big energy event, and since we are a relevant energy, especially in renewables, in the European context, I think it's time for Portugal to position itself internationally as a relevant country in these matters, and it will be a great opportunity to discuss, well, what we've been doing, challenges moving forward, and so it will be a great opportunity to discuss energy and renewables in general.
Yes, I mean obviously Lisbon is can be seen as a world leader in some next generation energy solutions and innovations, and having the event in Lisbon, then you'll be able to promote this to the attendees and delegates coming.
Yeah, and we have a vast array of from solar. We did one of the first floating solar auctions in the world. It was quite successful this year. We have, although we are a relatively small, well, in Europe we are a medium country, not a small country, but worldwide we are a small country. But if you look at the European Commission's database, most of hydrogen and its derivatives projects are in Portugal and Spain. So we are, I think the relevance that we have in energy outpaces our size. And so it is quite important for us to have such a debate in Lisbon.
Great.
And we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely looking forward to it. And yeah, keep an eye out on all the stuff coming up. And obviously we're here in Gastech in Milan. Just to get your viewpoint of, how it's gone for you so far.
Well, I think the challenges that we're currently living in the energy world, specifically in the gas world, can only be addressed by frank and open discussions between producers, consumers, and the entire value chain. And Gastech is the perfect event for such a discussion. We've had open discussions, closed-door discussions with Chatham House rules, but all very, very interesting. And I think the main concern is that we can only solve this together. Collaborative efforts are critical in all areas of energy, but to address specifically the crisis that we are currently on, events such as this, discussions such as the one these events allow us to have are critical.
And good to be back in person.
Yes, as always. 2 years of being locked down behind screens, this is always a huge refreshment.
Yes. Well, I really appreciate you popping by to our Energy Connect studio.
It was a pleasure.
And have a good last day for you.
Thank you very much.
Super.